This program is made possible by a cooperative effort of the U.S. Forest Service and the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service of the United States Department of Agriculture. The documentary has been produced to educate the public to the threat posed by the emerald ash borer. I'm Vince Wade. This is a story of death and destruction. It's about an invasion and the loss of defenseless, innocent victims. No, it's not about Iraq. In fact, this neighborhood in Redford Township outside of Detroit is one of the battlegrounds. It's the story of a desperate fight against a little emerald green bug from Asia that's killing millions of shade-giving ash trees like these. As you'll see at the end of this program, these trees are doomed. Chances are this is the first time you've seen this bug, yet it is changing our lives. It is a killer, and a relentless one at that. It is the emerald ash borer beetle. By conservative estimates, there are at least 10 billion ash trees in North America. The bug is attacking them at an astonishing rate. It has destroyed millions of shade-giving ash trees, and it is costing us millions of dollars. Those dollars are paying for removal of now hazardous dead trees and a desperate federal and state effort around the Great Lakes in Ontario to stop it before it kills even more. The emerald killer was first noticed in the U.S. in suburban Detroit. The first efforts to stop it began with a quarantine on moving ash wood from the counties around Detroit for fires or ash trees for planting. Soon, dead or dying ash trees were being cut down. The wood is ground into small chips and then burned at a cogeneration electric plant. It's the only surefire way of stopping this deadly pest. Ken Rauscher heads up the Michigan Department of Agriculture Pest Management Division.
This is a very devastating insect pest. It's an exotic pest. It's one that doesn't naturally occur in Michigan, discovered here just 2 years ago. However, by the time we discovered it, it had already infested approximately 2,500 square miles. It's a very large area in southeast Michigan. What it does is put our 700 million ash trees here in Michigan at risk, very significant risk. We know, for instance, that in southeast Michigan alone, there are probably between 15 and 20 million ash trees, probably 8 to 12 million of which are dead or dying. So this is a very significant pest to Michigan and ultimately to the eastern two-thirds of the United States.
Ironically, ash trees were planted years ago as shade tree replacements for elm trees, which had been devastated by Dutch elm disease. Ash trees are plentiful on neighborhood and city streets, in parks, along golf courses, and of course in wooded areas. The emerald ash borer is what is known as an invasive species. It comes from China and other parts of Asia. It is one of a growing number of exotic pests from other parts of the world attacking our ecosystem. Vic Mastro is an entomologist with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Mastro believes invasive species may ultimately pose a bigger threat to us than global warming.
It's potentially the largest issue that we're going to have to deal with in the next 50 or 100 years. And you can make an argument about whether global change, global environmental change is going to be a greater issue, but I think for the U.S. it's a toss-up.
Between that and invasive species?
Between that and the impact of invasive species on our environment, on our natural systems, on our agricultural systems, and on our cities and urban areas.
No one knows exactly how the emerald ash borer got here or when. The best guess is that it arrived in a wooden shipping crate like this from China. This neighborhood in Canton Township is viewed by some experts as the beachhead, as ground zero for the emerald ash borer's deadly invasion. This subdivision sits near a light industrial park that receives freight shipments from all over the world. Around 1998, 1999, something devoured over 100 ash trees along the streets of this subdivision. The tree experts were baffled. They now believe it was the first attack of the emerald ash borer in the United States. 2 years ago, when scientists and tree experts finally identified what they were dealing with, the emerald ash borer already was a significant invading force. What concerns the experts is the fact the emerald ash borer attacks healthy trees as well as those in distress. During early summer, the bugs mate like there's no tomorrow, and in a sense that's true. The lifespan of an adult emerald ash borer is about 3 weeks. The females use what is called an ovipositor to leave their eggs in crevices in the ash tree's bark. The eggs turn to larvae, which then tunnel beneath the bark to the soft, life-giving cambium layer. Through the fall, winter, and spring, larvae by the hundreds, perhaps thousands, tunnel in S-shaped patterns through the cambium layer, disrupting water and nutrients moving through the tree, thereby strangling it. In early summer, scores of new adults emerge through D-shaped holes in the bark and resume the deadly cycle. Most people don't realize something is wrong until they see dead branches in the top of the tree. By then, the tree's days are numbered. This is the emerald ash borer in the larvae stage, when it does the most damage to the tree. This is the emerald ash borer as an adult, as it's ready to fly the coop and kill more trees. This piece of bark was taken off a tree in LaGrange County, Indiana. The question is, how did these bugs get here? LaGrange County, Indiana is just a few miles from the Michigan and Ohio borders. It's largely Amish country where they burn lots of firewood for heat. The beetle could have arrived in sawmill logs from Michigan or in campground firewood. Either way, Indiana is now fighting to keep the bug from spreading.
So there's one right there on the bark. See it singing a cambium?
Man. So this is actually...
He would be ready.
This one is almost ready to turn into an adult.
I would say within a month he would be chewing his way out.
This is his growth line,
yep,
for lack of a better term. Yep. And he's been strangling this tree by attacking the
He eats the cambium, yep, between the wood and the bark.
And so the moisture coming up and the nutrients coming down.
He's living off it.
He's living off that.
And what he does is he interrupts the flow.
Like a leech.
Yes, yes. But he interrupts the flow of the fluids from the roots and the leaves, so it can't transpire and move materials up and down, so it slowly kind of suffocates the trees. And they seem to be able to fight a little bit in the beginning. They don't seem to really ravage a tree, but it seems like once they've been in the tree 2 or 3 years, they just take over. So.
And a tree can eventually have thousands of ash borers in them.
If you looked at this one here, which is a little further along, this tree probably did have thousands of borers in it.
So there's lots of the telltale trails here. You seen anything like this attack trees in Indiana before?
No, this is one of the most devastating things I've ever seen.